Okay, Chrysalis, I'm going to give you some feedback on teaching number 7 in real time.
Good morning, class. Morning. Let's start by beautiful singing, 1, 2, tie my shoe.
Okay, now if I'm remembering right...
1, 2, I'm sorry. I should give you a starting pitch.
I'm glad you did that. I mean, you know that I did that on purpose, but it's important to remember that. So that was good that you went back and started again.
1, 2, tie my
Now,
shoe.
the issue that I have is that you're putting up music. Now, kids that would be singing 1, 2, tie my shoe and learning So Me are going to be kids that can't read that music, right? They're probably not even going to be able to read some of the words that are there. So what might be really helpful is to create a visual, something that maybe incorporates the numbers, which are the things that kindergartners are probably going to know. Maybe use some pictures, because their reading comprehension is not going to be good enough for them to be able to read that in the way that you have it there, right?
And I am going to sing the first 10 notes of this song.
Now here's the thing. You're about to sing So Me, So Me, right? It's not very hard for them to figure out which ones are so and which ones are me. You should probably sing that on words so that they have to figure out which sol fa syllables go with what words, right? Like, it doesn't take a lot for them to write so SM, SSM, SM, SSM. That's not very hard. They didn't really have to use their ears to listen for which pitch was so and which pitch was me, right? Because you just gave them the answers. So it's essentially, can you listen to what I say and then write down what I said? They didn't really have to listen for the pitch. So maybe you'd want to restructure that activity, right?
So, write on the lines, where is soul and where is me?
Now the thing about that
For example,
is that you have to tell them whether so is on a line or on a space, because they know, and you just, by doing that, you just gave them the answers for where so is and where me is, right? So if you tell them for this activity, you just have to tell them so is on a line or so is on a space, and then let them do it. This wouldn't actually be a really challenging activity for them because you've given them all the answers throughout the activity. You have to structure it differently. Just small changes, but they're pretty important changes.
does everyone think they have it? Raise your hand if you think you have the right notes. And when you're finished, you can leave your worksheet on the desk and I'll collect it afterwards. Yes, you should. Thank you. Okay, now we're going to sing the song, Fellow Horses. Let's sing it one time together. There's our starting pitch. 1, 2, 3, go. Bell horses, what's the time of day? 1 o'clock.
Again, with the music, we wouldn't know that, and we probably wouldn't be able to read it, right? So it'd have to be one that we'd know pretty well.
We're learning about the longer note in this song. I am going to say 3 different words. If we sing that word on a longer note, I want you to hold your hands apart like this, like it's long.
I think this is a good
If it's
thing.
on a shorter note, hold your hands closer together.
What might help here is to go to heartbeats, since the kids would be good at
Is that a longer
keeping
note
steady beat.
or a shorter note?
Bell, horses, right? To be able to find the long note. And in this case, it's not so much the long note as the one that lasts the heartbeat instead of one that has two sounds over the heartbeat. Does that make sense?
Good. So everyone has that one too.
Again, having the music up would probably be really confusing to the kids that you would be trying to teach. In this case, again, you might want to have icons, you might want to use heartbeats. In this case, heartbeats with, sound icons over top of it, like one line for the one that, where there's one sound over the heartbeat.
That note is called the quarter note.
What
Just
of
like the quarter
heavens.
that we came to the store. Can
We
everyone
wouldn't have
say
named
quarter?
it yet, so we wouldn't really be calling it the quarter note yet because they're not ready for the symbol or the name yet. They'd probably be calling it ta. And since they have the music up, right, it has the symbol up, which is really confusing, that now you're sort of going backwards. You're calling it ta, but then you also called it quarter note, which is its actual name, which is the thing you would do in the present.
This is what the quarter note will look like.
And that's not what the quarter note will look like. That's the icon for ta. So you've got like a lot going on here. You've got the symbols up with words that they can't read, the symbols they can't read. You said quarter note, but then you tell them ta and then show them the stick notation. Do you understand why that might be confusing to first graders? We're talking about the sound that takes one heartbeat to do. If I'm remembering correctly, that this, I didn't really give you, there wasn't a lot of time to look over your lesson plan because it had sort of been submitted a little bit later, and I don't remember that I gave you a lot of feedback on it or any feedback for this. It's just not sequenced right. There's no sugarcoating it. It's sequenced in a really inappropriate way for the kids to learn. It would be really confusing for them because you're sort of all over the map. You've got the symbol up, you've got you've got ta, but you're also calling it quarter note, which you wouldn't do until present. You're showing them the stick notation icon, but you also have the actual symbol up on the board. It's a little tough.
And someone to volunteer to be the master of the horse.
I like the game though. The game's a lot of fun. I think the kids would have a really good time with it. So, that's nice. I like that you have that. I think that you always have pretty good ideas, but sometimes the sequence is off sometimes. And in this case, the sequence is really off. So that's the thing. You just kind of really need to think about the way that kids are going to learn this. I think maybe you might have been doing this in a little bit of a hurry, trying to get it done, and because of it, you just kind of put some steps in places where they don't really make sense.
You sing. Everyone needs to sing Bell Horses. Okay. So I'll get the starting pitch in. 1, 2, 3, go. Bell horses, what's the time of day? 1 4 2 4, off and away.
I do think that this next lesson that you've planned is going to go a little bit better, but you've got to get away from, if you're teaching the younger students, be really careful about your use of music with symbols. You kind of have to think about what they can actually read, both as far as music is concerned and as far as the English language is concerned. I think that really ended up taking away from the effectiveness of your lesson. I don't know that actual students would be able to do well with this lesson.